Today's quick riff lesson is on Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. So that's obviously Slash playing guitar. One thing to say about this to begin with is that Slash used to tune his guitar down for a lot of songs. So this one he was tuned down a half step, which means if he played this note, for example, the sound you would hear would be this note. So he plays it where I just played it a second ago, the riff, but the sound you hear is a bit lower. So if he plays this, you hear this. But because the song doesn't use any open strings, if you just wanted to play the riff along with the song, you can't play the chords or anything, but if you want to just play the riff, you could just do what I did then. You could move it down a fret in normal tuning. For the purpose of the lesson, I'm just going to keep in the 12th position here, which is where Slash played it. Right, so there's two ways you can play this with the left hand. With the right hand, I won't talk about the right hand too much. You might want to do alternate picking or sweep picking, or just however you feel like it at first. But the left hand, there's two ways you can do it. You can stay in position apart from one note. I'm always a big kind of advocate of trying to play things in position. Usually works best. And playing in position means that 12th position, you've got 12, 13, 14, 15, and each finger has its own fret that it stays with. And the only note in the main riff that's an exception to this is the penultimate one, where this little finger has to move from 15 to 14. So if I just play the main kind of first part of the riff in position, you'll see what I mean. So you see my little finger just moved back to that one note, but everything else stayed like this. Now the only issue I have with playing it like this is how I would naturally do it. The only problem with this is that Slash doesn't do it like this. Slash plays it like this. But there's not really any advantage to one or the other. But I would definitely recommend doing either of these. Try not to play it any other way. Don't just use one finger or anything like that. Right, the actual notes. Got 12 on the 4th string, and then 15 on the 2nd string. Those are both D notes in this tuning. And then we play 3rd string, 14, 12. So that was. And then the second half of that riff is 15 on the 1st string, 14 on the 3rd. And then 14 on the 1st string, 14 on the 3rd. So that whole thing was. And I recommend learning that bit first, practicing it, get it quite fluent, and then move on to the next part. The reason why is that the next 3 sequences are based on that first one. All that happens is on the second sequence, you don't play this first note here, play this one instead. So it's the same string, 4th string, it's a 14 rather than a 12. But all of the other notes in the riff are the same, so that would be this. And each of these patterns is played twice. So if I just play the first 2 with their repeats. Then the third riff is very similar to the first one, but this finger moves down to here instead, so it's 3rd string, 12th fret. Other notes are still the same. Now I think of this as being 4 patterns. The 4th one is identical to the first one. So you might think, well, isn't that just 3 patterns? It is, but it's easier to think of it in the song as 4 patterns. So you do the first one, the second one, the third one, the first one again. So that's 4. Because then the whole thing repeats and you go back to the first one again. So you end up doing the first one 4 times in a row, twice on the end, twice at the beginning. So I'm just going to play the whole sequence slowly twice through. repeats it, I think, from memory, I think it's 3 times at the beginning of the song. But then on the 4th one, or it might be the 3rd one, I can't remember how many he does in total, but on the last one of the intro before the vocal comes in, there's a different ending. So you know I said there were 4 riffs. Instead of the 4th one, you do something different. So you still do this. Then it changes here. It's reasonably easy, this part. We play 1st string 12, 3rd string 14. Now that 14 we keep coming back to. And then 2nd string 15, back to that note. 12 again on 1st string, back to that note. 14 on the 1st string, back to that note. 15 on the 1st string, back to that note. 14, 1st string. 12 on the 1st string. And then end with a 15 on the 2nd string, which just rings. That's where the vocal comes in. So there's a melody being played on the notes other than the 14s that we keep coming back to. The melody that's being played is this. And you just put this note in between all of those others. Okay, I hope you get the hang of that one, and if you like this lesson, please click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and suggest any other quick riff lessons you'd like to see in the comments below. Thanks, bye.